Welcome to the Red Devils District post-game interviews. Right now, we're live from Solace in Southwest DC.
UNICED.
Unfortunately, it was a long three-week break coming off from the international break, and obviously, we're not in Europe or the FA Cup. So I think the rust showed a lot about this game today. Very unfortunate. 2-1 losing to Leeds, the Battle of the Roses. I think Leeds came into this game with a lot more pressure right on the cusp of the relegation zone with 33 points. So I think they had more ambition on the front foot. For us, I think personally, I think that the team looked rusty. And obviously that's what you expect with a 3-week break, right? There's not much that you can say about that. I think the lineups had some holes in it. We had Mazraoui starting over Delo. I know there's been a lot of conflict with Delo, but I think he's still a better option than Mazraoui, especially going forward. We had Martinez coming in. Martinez looked kind of rusty. I think Martinez had some blame for the second goal. I think he could have cleared it. He played a ball on to Casemiro with a man on, and obviously that ball was intercepted, and then like about 3 or 4 or 5 plays later, it was 2-0 Leeds. But all in all, we lost the game. It would have been nice to go 10 points ahead of Chelsea, who are in 6th. I think mathematically we're not Champions League is not mathematically confirmed as yet. I think next week, if we beat Chelsea, it will be mathematically confirmed. But it's somewhat disappointing because the team picked up steam in the second half, and it's almost like where was that in the first half? I think the changes with bringing on Mbeumo for Diallo was pretty good. I think Mbeumo looked more dangerous attacking from the left wing. But all in all, a very disappointing loss, because I think we should have, playing at home, we should have won that game. And also just like, this gives an opportunity for all the anti-Carrick folks to kind of like have a way in to saying, oh, well, he's not up for the top job and stuff like that. So all in all, it's a disappointing loss, honestly. Can't say much. All right, again, our first post-game interview. What's your name again?
Jeremy.
Jeremy. 2-1 loss. I think it's a disappointing loss, considering the fact that we came on the gates kind of slow, and also it was a very dubious red card call by the referee on a hair pull by Martinez. What are your thoughts on the game? What are your thoughts on the break affecting the game? Well, what are your thoughts on the break affecting the first half? Because as you can see, I'm sure you agree the first half and the second half were two different teams.
Yeah, I think no Menu made a big difference. We had 2 deep line midfielders that couldn't pass the ball forward too much. So we had no box-to-box. It was all Bruno. I think we over-relied on long balls to Sheshko, and he couldn't get them down. And I think the long layover really made us rusty, where we looked out of place.
What are your thoughts on the red card for pulling off the strikers here for what is his name, Calvert-Lewin? Do you think it's a bit harsh? I think looking at the replay, it was kind of stunning that looking at the replay, the referee still got it wrong because it obviously wasn't intentional.
Yeah, there was no tug. I mean, it's a soft foul. I mean, it's marginally a yellow, so to give a red is a bit insane.
Yeah.
And that was, 5 minutes to have them pull it back for a VAR, which is insane to me.
Yeah.
They're nitpicking. It's just insane.
Yeah, definitely. That was really weird. That
it's like the game's gone. Come on.
That was really weird that that it didn't result in Leeds didn't have a chance to score, so it wasn't there was no reason to stop the game there. But what do you think about the changes that he made to change the tempo of the game? Bringing on Delo and Mbeumo for Diallo and Mazraoui. Do you think that changed the tempo of the game, or do you think it was a bit too late bringing on those changes?
Yeah, I think Mazraoui's a bit too conservative in his play style. He doesn't get too forward. I think Ahmad is in a funk. I mean, so is Mbumo. I don't think either needs to be starting. We don't have any other resources. But Ahmad's just really become one-dimensional, where he needs to up his game and go more at the man than passing it back and being conservative.
Yeah. I think Romney would love this because she's a big Delo fan. Shout out to Romney. But I agree with you on Mazraoui. He offers nothing going forward, and it's almost like if, like you'd rather have a left back or right back going forward, attacking, crossing than
He's one of those.
conservative.
He's one of those players that thrived under Amarin at 3 at the back. He's an in-betweener.
Yeah.
But he's kind of that's kind of why he left Bayern. He's not he has no true position. He's not a center back. He's not a right mid or a right back. I mean, and he gets stuck in two minds of thought.
Yeah, because I felt a lot of times, even in the first 20 minutes, he was like, just like he was slow on the defensive side, and he wasn't going forward. At least Delo, say what you want, Delo here, he may go have a shot over the bar or something like that, but at least he's going forward. And
Delo, I give him the benefit of the doubt because he gets in good spaces, good opportunities. Yeah. He might not finish it, but he gets in the good spaces. Yeah. And him getting in those spaces makes other players get open. If you look at Mazraoui's play, he didn't go forward at all. Yeah. He didn't make any gaps.
Yeah, he was always like on the back. What do you think about next week against Chelsea? They're kind of like in a funk. As we saw, they lost against City 3-0. They have this new coach. It looks like if they will be outside of the top 5. What do you think? How do you feel about going? I think we're at Chelsea, right? Are we at Chelsea or they're coming here? Yeah, it's at Stamford Bridge. How do you think the team can bounce back from that, given the fact that we still haven't mathematically qualified for the Champions League, but we would like to get that sorted?
Yeah, I mean, the scary part is our center backs are going to be young. We're going to have it's going to be Heaven and it's going to be Euro. I think that's going to put some indecisiveness, but I think that actually they will thrive. It's all about if we want to attack and go for it. I don't know what Carrick's mindset's going to be. I think he's the United way. He wants to be attack. I don't see him being conservative. I mean, Chelsea's for the pickings, and I think that we will go and get at least a tie.
Is Maguire? I think Maguire's. I'm not sure, but I think Maguire's suspension might be a 1 game because it wasn't the red card wasn't deemed to be intentional or something along those lines. So I think Maguire might be back.
Yeah, we'll see.
All right, but thanks again for your post-game thoughts, man. Appreciate it. Tough loss today. I know we kind of expected that to beat Leeds, but like you said, they're in their own.
It's the hangover. It's the hangover.
And they're also in their own relegation scrap with Tottenham. All right, we're here with Brian. What are your thoughts, man? It's tough loss. Like it's almost like I was talking to the previous interview. Like the 3-week layoff was just like the team was dead the first 20 minutes.
Another slow start, another fall behind, just trying to play catch up, and then the red card, whatever.
Yeah. That was very harsh. That was very harsh. I
don't understand the refereeing in the Premier League. Like, you let them bang on each other in the box, and then anything outside is just like, like a little nudge, I breathed on you wrong, like go down, like pull out the card. And I go back to the last game we played where, Ahmad, not the biggest dude, gets pushed off the ball, and they're like, basically their rationale was, he went down too easy. And then you compare that with Calvert-Lewin, like, sure, did he get his finger in his little man bun? Absolutely. But the moment he realized he's like, I got his hair, he pulls back. It's not this violent conduct that they're trying to play it off to.
Yeah, Femi.
And that changes the game as much as calling a penalty or not calling a penalty. It's
Femi,
frustrating.
Let me get your thoughts, because I know throughout the game you were pretty hot about the referee, and like Brian said, it was a very critical. We weren't playing shit, but it was a very critical point of the game. It was an inflection point for the game. What are your thoughts on the call, and what are your thoughts about us reacting to the call in terms of making the changes, the tactical changes? Because we've lost against a 10-man Everton team. So just because you're dunked 10 men doesn't mean that you can't win the game. We'll be on the other side.
The fact that after we went down a man, we looked way more lively, and we got one back. It says something about tactics, but also at that point when you're down to 10 men, your hands are kind of tied. You can't sub the way you want to sub. You can't bring in certain players because tactically you got to think, all right, well, ideally I want this guy to come in and play attack, or this guy to come in and fill in on the outside, left back, whatever. But then you're like, oh, well, we need someone who can do everything, someone who can attack and cover. And so I think that's why you saw people like, you had Mount, you had Xerxes on the bench, and they stayed on the bench because it just, at that point, being down a man.
Let me get Femi's thoughts. So
Well,
what are your thoughts on the tactics and the response to 10 men?
The major thing I wanted to say, that's why I'm doing post game today, is shout out to the referee. You made the game so much more exciting. Rooting for you, man. I'm sure you have the CV, and in the UK they use curriculum. I'm sure you have the CV for the job. You should referee every other game in the Premier League.
And as the previous interviewer said, he stopped like 3 minutes after that happened. It was it was almost like I was confused. I was like, "What are you looking at?"
No, I'm not gonna say anything bad about his call. It was right. That was the right call to make. You should have sent off like 2 other United players to just make it more fun, make it more interesting. VAR, the technology obviously works. Make it more American football. That's my message to the Premier League. Soon people will be holding the ball and running around. That's my message to the Premier League.
Let me ask you some questions on the lineup and then the changes. Because the lineup, we missed Kobe and Dolo. I think Dolo had an illness. Kobe had a knock, I think. How do you think that impacted the game? Because to me, Mazraoui and Ugarte were not impressive, especially Mazraoui. Mazraoui, our previous interviewer said Mazraoui looked very dead, and I agree with you. He offers nothing going forward. At least Dolo, I know you're not the biggest Dolo fan, but at least Dolo offers something going forward. And if he doesn't score, he creates channels for the strikers and the wingers to play. What are your thoughts on that?
Maz, I think, has been, let me not say disappointing, but I mean, I thought he was going to be the one to step up to like replace. Well, not just, in general, but he's not. But exactly. To your point, I'll say about Carrick's changes of the, to respond to being 10 men down. I thought it made total sense. Like you could see, you brought up a very good analogy of us losing against 10-man Everton versus a United team that was 10 men down in Old Trafford and on the back conceding. If we had 11 men, we would have won this game because with the one goal we scored, we would have gone up and like really made a major impact. But he did what he could do, man. Those are the tactical changes that was possible, and we'll look forward to next season.
Brian, let me ask you a very obvious question.
All right.
Why did we start so lackadaisical, so slow, so lethargic? Like I understand we're not in Europa League, we're not in Champions League, we're not in FA Cup. But it's almost
obvious.
like I thought
Obvious.
weren't they playing in Ireland or something like that?
In Ireland.
What did they do? What did they do there?
As to why, I don't know. Like you're just watching that, just run around, go, just go stick somebody. I don't know, get whatever you need to do to get fired up, and you just didn't see it.
I was really because I was
Even after the first goal though, I felt like it was still 10, 20. 25 minutes before we actually said, "Oh, we're in a game here."
and the thing is, there's 2 things. Like Leeds, Battle of the Roses. It's a derby. I know Leeds haven't been in the Premier League for the last 20 years consistently, but it's a derby, and they're also playing for relegation.
Oh, hey, Leeds come.
We all hail Leeds come. We all hail Leeds come. But I know they're in a Premier League. They're in a relegation battle, so they
I think that's part of it. I think that's part of it. I think.
But why wasn't that communicated?
Well, I think to this to both teams, I think this game meant way more to Leeds than it did to us. Like, okay, we dropped points. Probably
But we're not.
had
But,
three.
but we're not mathematically confirmed for the Champions League.
No, I know, but Leeds, they're fighting for survival, and that's a whole different animal, right? So, and then they came off of that big win in the FA Cup, the shootout win, and I think they just had a little bit more momentum. They came out,
Momentum.
and we'd been sitting at home for like
Yeah.
a month,
Yeah.
like what, 23 days or whatever.
Last words. Femi, I want to get next week is Chelsea at Stamford Bridge.
Right.
I think their coaches he might be a tech bro manager himself. He might be a tech bro manager.
He's a maths professor.
Yeah, but
He should go back to
what
teaching class.
because right now we can't win anything. So right now our main goal is just to qualify for Champions League. How do you think we go to because Stamford Bridge back in the day was a hard place to win, right? I think we've only won like a few times post Marino. What do you think our chances there to get a result, a draw or a win?
Right. Well, I watched the Chelsea. Duncan and Amanda made me watch that game. I watched the Chelsea Man City game. They were terrible, bro. So if they play the same way,
We should be good.
we will do the same thing Man City did to them.
Okay. All right. What about you, Brian?
I think Chelsea's pretty fragile at the back, and I think if we come in sitting back looking to counter, I think we can put a couple past them and come out there with 3 points. I think it'll be good.
All right. Well, again,
I hope.
reporting live from Solace, Southwest DC. This is the Red Devils District post-game interview with Femi and Brian. Disappointing day, 2-1 loss to United. We didn't get a chance to move up the table, but we go again next week against Chelsea at Stamford Bridge. Shout out to Priyana behind the cameras, and thanks for having us. All right.